Hi there, my name is Mark Levitt. I'm the founder of ForecastEasy, a new forecasting software tool to help you turn your weeks and months long frustrations with forecasting into 2 to 4 hours. My background is investment banking for consumer brands, and this software is based on the forecast models that led to $100 to $200 million enterprise value transactions. So the goal is to help give you a really great sense of granularity and detail without making it too complicated. Because at the end of the day, what's in a founder's head and their vision, we need to turn into numbers to see if it works out. So from here, I'll show you a very quick demo to see if this might be helpful or interesting to you. Along the way, we're going to go over best practices and different metrics to hit for consumer brands. Although this program works across 8 different consumer brand categories, really a lot of the same margin targets are awfully similar. So we'll start with a new forecast, and let's call it something like exciting new consumer brand, exclamation point. From there, we'll give you instructions, but we'll jump just ahead and we'll take a look at our different categories to choose from. So let's pretend this exciting consumer brand is a food bar, maybe something like that. So we'll choose food as category. And from here, really, the best way to start a simple yet thoughtful forecast is the matrix of your channels and your products. We're going to talk about where you sell your products and then what your specific products are. From there, we can break it down to each of these intersections, individual profitabilities. Sounds complicated, very simple. I'll walk you through it. So let's say our exciting new brand, let's say we sell it on our own website, online owned. Let's say we sell through wholesalers. And let's say, you know what, Whole Foods is a really big channel for us that we want to forecast specifically outside of wholesale. So we've got 3 different channels chosen, and we can have up to 8. Really, the sweet spot, I'd say, is 3 to 5. We don't want to overcomplicate. And from here, we'll start to enter in our different products or our SKUs. So let me make up a couple. Our first one maybe is a blueberry colada. The second one may be a strawberry rhubarb. And maybe the third is a lime acai. I don't know. I'm making these up as we go. So we can have up to 20 different SKUs here. But again, really that 4 to 7, 7 to 10, depending on your business, is going to be the best situation. Once we set up our channel and SKU product mix, we can decide, are we doing a generic year forecast because we're not sure when we're going to launch. So it'll be year 1, year 2, year 3, etc. Or a calendar year. So let's do one that's, for the very start of 2022, and we'll do a 5-year forecast. So from here, we enter in what's called forecast mode. What I would encourage all entrepreneurs to do when forecasting their business is to look at each of the channels you're selling your products in, as well as each of the SKUs. So we're going to build it on a SKU level, channel level basis by just answering questions about our volume, our price, and our COGS. And then we'll turn it into a little graphical summary that will help us review it. So making up these numbers, but maybe online we're selling 2,500 units, and we think there's some pretty solid growth ahead, maybe 50%, 40%, 30%, 20% in the coming years. The actual numbers aren't hugely important. It's more about the trajectory and where are we trying to get to, and then what the overall financial implications would be of that. Maybe in wholesale, we start a little bit bigger, 5,000 cases. And maybe this is one where we're going to get into new clusters and new geographies. And we kind of think we can grow 100% a year for the first 2 years. And then from there, some incremental 35% growth. And maybe Whole Foods, this is our biggest customer right now, 15,000 units. But maybe they've told us, we're just going to sell incrementally more because we're already in all of their accounts. So what this helps us do is, show that we're growing from 22,000 of these units to 66. But really granularly break it down and talk about our specific growth rates in wholesale versus online versus Whole Foods. Next, we're going to talk about price point because we receive a different price for selling the bar either online versus wholesale versus Whole Foods. So we're going to have 3 separate gross prices, and then we can talk about discount percentages and then increasing or decreasing our prices over time. So again, very simple adjustments, but overall giving a lot of granularity and a lot of detail for strategic conversations with investors, shareholders, management, you name it. So I'm making up numbers here. Let's say online it's $50 per a case, and we got to give about a 10% discount. And maybe we can take 3% price increases each year. In wholesale, maybe we're selling it about $30 a case because it has to go through the distributor, and there's an 8% discount, and maybe we can't take any price increases each year. And maybe in Whole Foods, it's $27, and they make us take a 5% discount, but we can do a 5% price increase every other year. So whatever the different thoughts are of how to increase price and change the discount over time, what we're left with is 3 very different net prices in each of our channels to correspond with our volumes. And finally, our COGS. When we enter in our COGS, let's say, it's about $20 for each of the packs, we can immediately look at our gross margins of this SKU in each of the channels. In wholesale and Whole Foods, this mid-20s margin is really something that isn't going to build a profitable business. We're looking for a path to 40 to 50% per gross margin for each SKU. So if the COGS were to stay flat, I would say this is a business that we're not going to be very successful with. We either need to raise the price or change the channel mix. But let's say we could get 10% COGS improvement off the back and then maybe 5% from there each year. All of a sudden, we see a pathway to a very solid 70% margin and a mid-40s in our wholesale and Whole Foods. So by entering in just information about our volume and our price and our COGS, we can create a mini little P&L where it shows us that in year 5 from here, we're making $2 million in revenue just from this SKU with about a 50% gross profit margin. And we can drill down on each of the categories and how it builds up to the total. We can filter it away if we want, maybe just focus on wholesale and Whole Foods, of course, download it and we can save it as pictures. But the real magic here is we can say, you know what, $2 million, we got to get higher than that. So what if we take more of a 10% price increase in some of these out years in 2 of the channels? Let's bump it up and now take a look at our overall summary. And just with those few changes, we can immediately calculate that $2.3 million is what this new revenue is going to look like. So once we do this for our first SKU, we'll do it for our second, third, fourth, fifth. I'll skip ahead to a finished model that has 5 SKUs across 5 channels. And once we do this, we can enter what's called analysis mode. And the most important part of analysis mode is this front screen where we have our SKU and channel analyses, where we show the total cases or units and the total revenue, total gross profit, and total gross margin broken down by channel. So we can really tell the story of, okay, we're going from 6, we're getting to 20. Here's the exact breakdown of how we do so. It's in these channels. With a single button, we can flip everything to be by SKU. So instead of 6.1 going to 20 by channels, we can say, wow, Harold's High Rye Bourbon is really doing the majority of the pulling here. So when we tell investors we've got amazing growth, we can really calculate and granularize where the growth is coming from. And then just some neat tools, we can filter away certain channels and certain SKUs so that we can really drill down and say, okay, just these 3 SKUs in those channels, here's what our overall breakdown looks like. One button click, share it with the rest of our team. What's most powerful about this is that it builds an income statement for you, both in terms of charts as well as the data table. This calculates all the way down through gross profit and gross margin without a founder having to know any finance whatsoever. Just answering the questions about volumes, prices, and SKUs, and gets a really good picture of what's going on strategically and financially. This, of course, can be downloaded with one click into Excel. And then the second aspect of this program gets into operating expenses, where we can really break down in granular fashion how we're spending money below the gross profit line item and ultimately calculate an EBITDA type number, which will help us with our overall profitability, our valuation, and eventually, our cash burn needs. So overall, this is the quick overview of ForecastEasy, as well as different financial metrics to hit, different strategies for setting up your forecast. This is absolutely doable in Excel. All of it is. The thoughts with ForecastEasy is it takes what can be done in Excel and makes it so much faster, so much simpler, and a guided aspect. So please let me know if you have any questions. More than happy to give a personal walkthrough or conversation. But I hope that you use this tool to spend more time on your sales, marketing, and product development efforts, because that is where great brands are made. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you.